Good morning, everyone. This is Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, and I am here to do my regular Wednesday morning Facebook Live. So every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time-ish, I pop on live to create something using the featured stamp set of the week. So this week, it's actually an entire collection that I'm featuring. And this is a brand new collection that Stampin' Up! Has released. It's called the All Together Collection. And I'll just switch over to my desktop view so you guys can see all the fabulous product in here, and I can tell you just a bit more about them. So as you pop on, if you want to say hi, that would be awesome. I'd love to know who's joining. So in this collection, we actually have a stamp set and dies. So these beautiful hand signs with some lovely sentiments, and then some dies that cut out those hands, an extra little heart, and then two beautiful sentiments that say, "Here for you," and "You matter." And these are just really, really beautiful dies. I have created a few things using all of the bits of this set, and you'll see them over the course of the week pop up on my social media and on my blog and everything. So there's that stamp set. Now this stamp set is an exclusive out of publication offering. It's available from now until May 1st. And then it is gone. It will never appear in any of our catalogs. What you see here online and in our shop is what there is, and it's while supplies last. So a really, really beautiful stamp set and die set that are exclusively out of the catalog and only available for a short time. So we have that lovely set. And then another part of this collection are our natural tone Stampin' Blends. So these are alcohol-based markers in a wide variety of natural tones. They start at, I think this is 100. Yeah, so the deep colors start at 100 and work their way through to 1000 with our lightest color. And so they've just numbered them, and they all blend really, really well together. Even if you're blending your darkest and your lightest together, you can get some really nice natural tones happening. These are perfect for creating hair, skin, sepia colored photos, backgrounds, even great in like nature scenes and stuff when you're coloring those in. So really a lot of use for these, and a great replacement to the ivory and bronze that we had before as our only real natural tones in our Stampin' Blends collection. So now these are not limited time like that stamp set and die. These will be available in our next annual catalog. You'll be able to buy them in packs of 2. So you'll get 100, 200 together, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 900, 1,000. So they'll be sold in 2 packs again for $12 a pack. And you'll be able to grab those like that. What's really cool right now is if you grab these before our annual catalog comes out, you can actually get these as a whole collection. And so one code gets you the whole set. Kind of cool. All right, so with those staying over and coming out, that's kind of like an early release. There's one more piece that's a limited time offering that's a part of this collection, and it is the Black and White Designer Series paper. You get 48 sheets of Black and White Designer Series paper. It's all double-sided, and the patterns are gorgeous. So we've got stripes and crosses and hearts and dots, little arches and more stripes. And I love these ones because they're not straight. Very fun. Hi, Marianne. No, to my knowledge, the blender pens can't be refilled, which is an unfortunate thing at this point. But yeah, just their design, you can't, well, we don't have anything to refill them with. Yeah, so we've got some more patterns here. I love this one. just to color it in. And so these pattern papers, you can use them as black and whites, or you can add some color to them. Use Stampin' Blends on them. Use blending brushes on them. So many different things. So this one is super cute with the little hands and the heart and everything. We've got some stripes. I love this one. You can cut this one right in half and use it as a real big focal piece on your card. Color those in with your natural tones blends. Some floral patterns, some funky dots. This one trips me out. I actually can't, like, I can't look at it entirely. It makes me dizzy. I do really like it though. Some leaves, some more stripes. These ones are great for coloring in rainbows or even neutral tone rainbows with those new natural blends. And then the Solidarity hands and another paper lovely to color in is any kind of rainbow you'd like. Or don't color it. So just a really, really gorgeous designer series pack. All right, so today I am going to be creating with this pack, and I'm going to be creating a really fun fold. So this is a card fold that I actually learned this weekend at my Uplines team meeting. And so I'm super lucky because I get 2 team meetings a month where I get to craft. I get my own that I run for my group, and then one that my my upline runs for all of us. So this weekend we did some mystery stamping, and this was our mystery stamp fold. So what it is a regular horizontal fold card. So 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2, just to create a regular card base. And then you're going to take the front of it and pop it here into your paper trimmer. Make sure you're using your scoring blade though, not your cutting blade. And you're going to line the top right-hand corner up and the bottom left-hand corner into your crease there. And we're going to score that. Whoops. So with that scored, we're actually going to fold this inward. So it folds in like that. So we get that funky shape. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to create a card that stands up like this. And we'll put a little stopper in here to prevent it from falling over. So that is our fancy fold on our base. So now the next step is to decorate this up any way you want. And the way I have decided I'm going to do that is to grab a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 cardstock, and I'm using Flirty Flamingo. And that piece is going to go right on there and then be the part that stands up. Okay, so this is my base that I'm going to build off of. On top of that, I've got a 3 3/4 inch by 5 inch piece that's going to layer on there nicely. And this is where I'm going to do all of my stamping right now. Good morning, Gail. So on this 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece, I am going to grab those beautiful little hands that have the little pinkies locked together. And I'm going to ink them up with Memento black ink. And so I do that by actually taking my Memento to my stamp. And then I can see it's fully covered. And I'm actually going to stamp these up quite high and to the right. There we go. So I've got that all stamped on there. It's a beautiful image. Good morning, Norma. And then I've got this sentiment. It says, we'll get through this together. And I'm going to ink that one up as well. Now, I might actually give this one a test run. I often, oh, maybe I won't. No, I'm going to wing it. No, I'm going to give this one a test run. I often have trouble stamping the rubber ones just because I can never tell how it's going to line up. So I can't tell if I make my block straight. Will that be straight? Yes, if I make my block straight, that'll be straight. Okay. All right, so re-ink that. And I'm going to pop this up into the top left-hand corner. There we go. Excellent. So I've got that sentiment on there, those little hands on there, just stamped in Memento Black. And we are going to start doing some coloring now. Sorry, guys, I've got a bit of a cough and just trying to get rid of it. So actually, let's see how far up I can move those so they're just in your view. There we go. So I'm going to use our Natural Tones Stampin' Blends to color these in. Now, I really wish I had written down which colors I used. Now, I do have a little bit of a chart. And if you'd like a copy of this, just let me know and I can get this for you. But it's a chart where you can kind of put in all the colors from deepest to lightest, and you can see how they kind of appear on the page. So I think, pretty sure I used 700 for my fingernails and 400 for my hand. So we'll start there. So I'm going to grab 1,009, 8, 700 for my fingernails, and I'm going to start with the bullet tip end and just color in my fingernails on my hands here. There we go. Uh-oh. And I smudged my ink already. Oh, no. Okay. I'm not sure why that happened. All right. And then I am going to use 400 for one of my hands. And I'm just, actually, that seems a little bit dark. Maybe I'll do 500. And so I just start with my wide tip end. And I'm going to go in here and just start coloring in my hands. And so I am kind of trying to go in like, you know, kind of straight lines so that although these don't leave streaks, they do still pick up where you've gone over more and more. And so then I'm actually going to use that to my advantage and come in on the thumb. And so if you actually just kind of look at your own hand, you know, your thumb has some creases, and you can actually even use the fine tip for this. And I'm just going to come in and put a little bit of a crease where I see creases on my own hands. So I can see here, there's a little bit of an extra. And then on my hands from my knuckles, I get those lines down. And so I'm actually going to come in from the knuckles and just put those lines in. I'm using the same color that I started with. And then on my pinky as well, I've got just a little bit of creasing happening there on my pinky when I look at that, and a little bit down from my thumb. Now I can come back in and add more color to that later, and I might. So I'm just going to leave that one out a bit so I remember that was the one I used. And then I'm going to use my 200 for my other hand, and I'm going to do the exact same process. I'm going to come in with my blend and start right away just in a nice direction so that if I do end up overlapping and creating darker spots, it's in a direction that makes sense for how our skin would be colored. Okay, there we go. And so these are really fun because you can also blend more than one color together to create shading and stuff, which you'll see I'm going to do on the palm of this hand in a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to come in. There we go. So I've colored that all in with 200. And now I'm going to grab just a slightly lighter one. This is 400. And I'm going to come in with the 400 just in a circular motion on the palm of this hand and lighten that up a bit and come down the wrist area as well, and the underside of that thumb. All right, and then maybe made that just a little too light. So when I come back in with my dark to create those little lines on the knuckles, just like I had done on the other hand, I'm going to come in and do that. And then I'm also going to darken up some areas. So like along this palm, I'm going to go in, and I'm also going to go over that spot that I lightened, just because I feel like I lightened it too much. And we'll let this blend together. And there we go. And so you can see we can really create a lot of different colors and shading just with these blends and going over certain areas more than others. All right, so that is looking good. So I'll just bring this in for a little bit of a closer view for you guys, and you can see some of the shading. So on that lighter hand, I might go over it one more time and just soften some of that, some of the lines that I created on there. So that was, I think I said I was using my 700. No, I wasn't. All right, I'm just going to do a little test on the side to see. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to come back in here and go over the whole hand one more time just to soften all of those marks that I created. They're just a little bit darker than I wanted. And so this won't get rid of them, because as I color over the marks I made, I will keep the marks that were there and just blend them in more. All right. So there we go. We've got those hands all colored in. Now I left the ends just kind of jagged because they're actually going to get covered up with some designer series paper. This paper is actually going to go down here on the bottom half of this, and so you can see the hands just fall right underneath that. Now this one doesn't entirely, so I can extend that if I wanted to with a black pen and fill it in more, but I'm actually going to be wrapping a ribbon, so that last little bit that didn't get covered will get covered by my ribbon. So I'm now going to take some of this designer series paper from the All Together collection and just glue that right on over top of the bottom of those hands. Okay, and now I want this all the way down at the bottom of this piece of cardstock. There we go. And so I do like the liquid glue because I can wiggle it around and get it exactly where I want it. Awesome. Okay, so with that done, I am now going to grab some ribbon. And the ribbon I am using is the Flirty Flamingo metallic ribbon. I love this stuff, you guys. So I am just going to wrap that around. Oops. And cut off enough that I can tie a bow here. There we go. And so the first thing I do when I am tying a bow is I come on in and I crisscross it. And for this particular one, it's a thin enough ribbon. I am actually going to tie a knot. Sometimes I won't do that with a thicker ribbon, but this one knots up nicely and doesn't make a giant lump. So this one I'm going to knot. And then once I've got that, I can kind of give my paper just a little bend. And I can come through here and flip my ribbon around until it's going to lay flat on the front. And I'm also going to scooch this over just the tiniest bit. All right, so now you can see with that ribbon attached, it's now covering up that last little bit on my hands that I didn't have covered. All right, now I'm going to grab my ends. I'm going to make two little bunny ears and tie them around each other. There we go. Now this ribbon has quite a bit of friction to it. It doesn't like to slide. So you want to try, normally I say, fuss around with your bows and all that and just keep playing with them until you get it the way you like it. But with this one, it doesn't like to fuss too much. So try and get it as close as you want it the first go round, because it's not an easy one to slide around. Okay. So with that done, I'm going to trim up the ends on that. Oops. There we go. So trim up the ends, and we are ready to attach this now to our Flirty Flamingo base that we had. So this was just a regular 4 by 5 1/4 inch base that we had, and we're going to attach that right on there. And I am going to use liquid glue for this. All right. So get that going. Pop that on there. And press that down. There we go. So I do like the liquid glue because although it doesn't hold right away, it does create a really strong hold. All right. So with that done, I'm going to move these blends out of the way. And we are going to start putting our card together. So you'll remember that we did that diagonal crease and we folded it in like that. So now we're going to attach this piece onto here, and I am actually going to use some Seal Plus to do this. And without getting too close to my edge, because I want to leave a good 1/4 inch border on here, I am going to run Seal Plus as close as I can to that crease without going over it. And then leaving a good little 1/4 inch, oh, that might be too much, oh well. Better too much than too little. I'm going to run some up like that. So what I've done is I've created a sticky triangle there on this lower piece. Now I'm going to take our 4 by 5 1/4 piece of Fleur de Flamingo. I'm going to try and line it up before I push it down. And I'm looking at those 2 corners and trying to get them right on that crease. And now I'm going to put that down like that. And you can see it's attached only to the front part, not to the back. So I can stand my card up like that, and it will stand up nicely. Now, because we're going to see part of the inside of the card, I am going to do some decorating on the inside as well. And this decorating that I'm going to do is also going to help the card stand up at a later date. So I'm going to grab my liquid glue again. I've got just a little scrap of my designer series paper. It's just the leftovers from the one that I cut for the front. And throw some liquid glue on the back of there. And I'm going to pop this right down to the base of this piece. Now this piece that I'm putting inside is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, so just like a normal piece that you'd put on the inside of a card. And I'm going to also glue that straight to the inside of our card, just like we normally would with a regular fold. So that nice little border and everything on it. Oh, and this is why I use liquid glue, because that was really not straight. Okay. There we go. So now that's glued in. So now when we open this card and I want it to stay open, I need something sitting here to help it stay open. So I've cut a little heart using the dies, the heart die that comes in this collection. And I'm just going to pop a dimensional on the back. Now for this one, I am using a full dimensional, and it's really going to fill the space. So we have to be careful to make sure we line it up right at the edges. If you're working with darker colors, you may even want to use the black dimensionals so that it stays hidden. And I want that full dimensional there because this dimensional has a big job to do. So I'm just going to trim it a little bit. There we go. Just so it doesn't poke out. This dimensional has a big job to do. It is going to be holding our card open, just like that. So I want it to be super strong. I don't want some little baby mini dimensional on there that could easily get worn down over time and fall off. So I want the full strength, the big dimensional there to hold that in place. Now we're almost finished our card. Now that will create a little bit of a bump when you close your card, but not too bad. So now we're going to add a little bit more to our card front. We're going to add a few little hearts onto our card front as well. And let's see, I think I'm changing this up. I did have some ideas to do some embossing, but I don't think this card actually needs it. So I think if we do that, that's going to create, nope, maybe one up there and one down here. I'm just thinking about the triangle that I'm going to create. So I think that's where I'm going to attach these 2 little hearts. And this time around, I can use mini dimensionals for it if I can find my minis. Maybe I'll be using full size. Oh, here we go. All right. So for these ones, they're not doing any work. They're just looking pretty. So they can be the tiny little ones. We're going to pop those. Oh, come on. Back. There we go. We're going to pop those onto our card front. And I'm going to, oh, hi, Joanne. Oh, thanks. This was a great one that I learned from Ange on the weekend. And then I am going to just come in here and add some Wink of Stella to these hearts just to give them a little bit of shimmer so that they match my ribbon a bit more. And I'm going to give that one that's going on the inside a little shimmer too. But I think I'm going to finish up my card front first so that I can then leave this card open to dry. And the last touch on this card before we call it done will be some iridescent rhinestones. These things, you guys, are my new favorite rhinestone. I cannot get enough of these. So let's come in here and let's see. Where do we want some? Maybe one there beside our heart. And another two over here. Just the little baby ones. There we go. So just a little bit of bling across that card front. And we'll call this card complete. Well, except I'll add that last little bit of Wink of Stella to the inside heart. And then I'll leave this open for a little bit for it to dry. So it's a very neat fold. It's a great way, like this would also be a great fold to do if you were like sending a photo of the grandkids or something to your parents, and a great way to have it kind of stand up and be its own little picture frame kind of thing. So that is our finished card. So it just sits like that and super, super cute. And I just absolutely love the paper and everything in this All Together collection. So again, that was the Here Together stamp set. I didn't use the, oh, I did use the does because I used the heart. The Natural Tones blends and the Here Together or All Together Designer Series paper. So thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you guys popping on and checking this out. I also wanted to let you know that I have a really big special happening this month. Something new I've started to do. I'm taking part in a tutorial bundle. And so as a thank you to anybody who places a $65 order or more, in addition to your celebration rewards that you get this month, I am also going to send you a PDF of a 34 project tutorial bundle, and it's all featuring stuff from our new January to June mini catalog. There's also a project in there using this All Together collection, and they are just the sweetest cards and three-dimensional projects and all sorts of like packaging and really cool projects in this tutorial bundle. So it's kind of like an extra little thank you this month to everybody who supports my business. So thanks so much for watching. Share this with your friends. If you haven't joined my newsletter, you definitely want to. I am sharing a lot of like tutorials and stuff in my newsletter now, and yeah, just trying to get some creative inspiration out there to you guys. So everybody have a great day. If you're here in the Lower Mainland, I hope the snow that's supposed to hit us doesn't hit you too hard. And oh, hi, Jacqueline. I'm just saying goodbye, but catch the replay, okay? So everybody have a great day. And if you have a chance, join me on Sunday for my Celebration Sunday video. 9 a.m. I'll be, oh, I can't remember. I think it's the Sunshine and Rainbows Designer Series paper that I'm going to be featuring this Sunday. You can also go back and look at the replays of the past Sundays. I'm slowly going through the catalog, highlighting each of the products and showing some cute projects with them. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.